Yo, what's going on, guys? Chris Barnard here. So I got a great question from somebody who wants to begin speed training. Essentially, their question is, how do I incorporate speed training into my actual strength training, right? So he wants to start balancing it out and have a series of both the training, and he wants to start getting faster, if you will. I don't know if it's for sport, you don't really say, or if you're just doing it to maybe shed off some of that fat. But what I wanted to share with you is a simple method for somebody getting into it to actually incorporate speed training. Now, there's two ways that I typically work with my athletes. Now, if I have an athlete who absolutely needs linear speed and is at an elite level, there's probably gonna be two sessions. One where you're focusing just on speed and one where you actually do strength training. And this would be for somebody such as a track athlete or maybe a football player going for a combine. But, however, if you're a team sport athlete, whether it be getting ready for football or whatever, I typically spend about 30-45 minutes on speed and then another 30-45 minutes on actual strength training in per session, if you will. But an easy way that I incorporate it is I usually break down what I'm actually working on. So, for instance, if that athlete might be working acceleration on a Monday and doing lower body, next time he does lower body, he might focus on a top speed. If he's a football player, one day might be devoted towards lateral speed, if you will, or change of direction. And then another day might be focused solely on power or some kind of upper body power, if you will. But the easy way that I incorporate it is, for instance, I'll actually give you an example of what I'm doing here for day one for my athletes. What I'll do is, since it's speed is not really grinding reps like you're doing with strength training or, bodybuilding, what you're focusing on is every single repetition needs to be quality over quantity. And what that means is every single rep has to be as perfect as you could possibly perform at that given time, only for not just mechanics, but for your nervous system to fire that fast mechanically. So what I like to do is I like to place all my speed movements in the beginning of the workout. So as soon as they're done warming up, I like to go ahead and move right into mechanics while they're not fatigued and while they're still sharp and able to perform them at a high capacity as far as holding that form and that technique. And what I'll usually do is I'll usually rotate maybe 3 all the way up to 5 or 6 exercises depending on the athlete, and I'll do them before their strength training. So as you can see here, dumbbell broad jumps, that's just a simple horizontal power. Remember, jumping translates directly over to speed training, so I do a lot of power movements where we're performing triple extension through the posterior chain. After that, they have single leg box jumps, but for this, I'll probably have them in a sprinter stance, exploding off that one leg, so it's really mimicking like acceleration, if you will. And then I finish with ground starts. That's just gonna be my mechanic for acceleration with them. This program happens to be with the beginning of an off season for some of the football players, so they don't need a high volume of that. It's more about the bodybuilding and strength training, getting them really strong. But I also want to keep their mechanics down and perfect them throughout the off season. And then, as you can see here, we move over to a box squat, and then I have auxiliaries. So the way that you can easily incorporate speed training, I just gave you guys an example. Add it to the beginning of your workout, select like maybe 2 or 3 exercises that you know is going to translate over to speed, whether that be jumping or actually sprinting, and then make sure that you're performing mechanics as well. So make sure that you're performing mechanical stuff, whether it be your arm pump or some kind of speed mechanic drills in the beginning of your workout while you're sharp, and that's how you incorporate. I hope that helps. I'll holler at you next time.